I am absolutely delighted to hear the calls for harmonization. It may seem natural now, but if you go back 5 or 6 years, when we started trumpeting the idea that there needed to be some standardized approaches to this industry, it was met with blank faces. But now, after a few years of explaining what was meant by that, people are starting to talk about it more fully. And let me illustrate why this is so important. You and I both have mobile. I'm sure you have a mobile phone, and lots of things happen on that mobile phone. It updates itself, it changes itself, you can adapt to new technology, you can get a new mobile phone and you barely even notice that change. And, it all seems perfectly natural and it seems very, very easy. And actually the cost of picking up a new mobile phone and getting it operating is very, very low to you. If you went back 20 years, that would not have been the case. All phones were operating on different mechanisms and different ways of going about it, and the equipment was extremely expensive. In came something called the Global Standards Memorandum in the mid to early 90s, and that completely changed the dynamics of the mobile phone market and made it such that the powerful thing that we see today. There is a completely analogous situation happening within cell and gene therapy. For the hospital systems, as they look at this approaching wall of 1,000 different therapeutics from 1,000 companies covering hundreds of different types of diseases, all of which have complex degrees of complexity to them in terms of the products and how they're used, the hospital system is going, this is just horrendously expensive for me to adopt and then for me to change into another therapeutic because I've learned how to use one and then I'm going to have to go and learn how to use another. And that completely stalls the development of the industry because the hospital system is saying it's just too expensive for me to adopt it. This one right now, I'm going to wait until I get the one that's perfect and I'll adopt that one. So by the industry adopting new standards and everybody approaching the same way, a couple of things happen. The first thing is that it's much, much easier for the healthcare system to pick up on these therapeutics and use them in the system, and they can be used much more cheaply, which brings down the overall cost of advanced therapies. Bearing in mind that at least half, if not 2/3 of the cost of an advanced therapeutic are in the hospital system, not in the product. So it brings down the cost of the therapeutics. It improves the ability to switch between different therapeutics for the hospital system, which means they will adopt more quickly and they will use more volumes. And as the volumes go up, you get that fantastic virtual circle associated with the technology adoption where the cost goes down as the volumes go up. And it's fundamental to the development of the industry that this happens. In terms of what we're doing, we recognize this early, and we've been working with all of the international organizations that we can find and the standards bodies to start this discussion going. And it works in all sorts of different levels: manufacturing level, product description level, product use level, adoption level, payment level. There's all sorts of convergence that needs to take place. And we work through a network that we have set up in the UK called the Advanced Therapy Treatment Centres, for whom a big part of their mandate is to say, how do we do this efficiently? How do we come to a common way of doing it? And how do we work with the rest of the world so that we start to adopt those standards? And I think this is going to be one of the big drivers of the acceleration of adoption of cell and gene therapies.